Why I fired 17 people at the most my business was producing. I had 17 employees. I was making nothing. I was actually losing money every single month, but my goal at the time was actually not to make money. Of course it was to make money, but it was to see if I just needed more volume with what I was doing for it to work, or if my business model in general wasn't that good. And it was a bit of both. I needed not just slightly more volume, I needed about 200x times the volume. And the way I would do that is not through the hiring process that I was doing. I was hiring the wrong skills. The skills that I were doing, I was not training properly. Pretty much everything was a disaster and it failed miserably in a spectacular function. I think my payroll at that time was around $16,000 a month, which is just stupid to think about. And it was the lowest profit I ever had. I think my savings were dwindling month by month. But anywho, my hiring process, which actually was pretty smart, that developed after scoping through at least 600 to 1,000 potential employees. You get pretty good at shuffling through what actually matters. First off, resumes don't mean anything. If I'm looking for a particular skill, I couldn't care less what the resume said. That was the least of my concern. That also being said, I was hiring low skilled labor. If I was hiring a uh, manager or a CEO, a resume would matter a lot more. I would not want to hire someone that did not already perform that task for another business, aka be a CEO or run different companies in the past. But that still doesn't really have to do with looking at a resume because I don't think any huge business owners really look at resumes. I don't even have a resume, and I've been offered dozens of jobs by some of the richest people in the world, quite literally. And so I don't think the majority of people, the big business owners, care about resume if they are hiring a high skilled position. But anyway, that is besides the point. When I was hiring, I didn't care about resume. What I would do is I would send them a trial task. I would post a job board on a Filipino website and I would have a very specific task that I wanted them to do as a trial run. Let's say it was a video editor. I would have them I would list out, let's say, 10 different steps that I want to for them to incorporate in the video. And if they could successfully track on every single one of those, I said, After you finish this trial edit, send it to my email at blank blank blank." Let's say you get 100 people who apply for the job. Out of that 100, maybe 20 of them actually do the trial task because they think are proficient in it and they email me back. Of those 20 people who email me back a video, there's probably only 3 or 4 of them that are actually really good. So then what I would do is I would look at those 4 pretty good or really good trial edits, and then I would hop on a call with them and I would ask them to walk me through their thought process as to why they were making the videos that they were making. Usually, the 10 steps that I had, they were a lot of creative thinking because I did not want to employ someone that could only do complete directions in a straight line. I wanted someone who could think for themselves and make decisions and innovate, adapt, to do things that they thought of themselves instead of only being reliant upon what I say. And the people who would then, from those 3 or 4 phone calls, the people who could articulate, because English was very important, they articulate their decisions in the highest degree possible that actually I thought understood what they were talking about, then I would hire them. And that was a pretty long process. I would actually take a good solid week on the hiring process because if you hire the right person, it doesn't actually matter what else you're doing because good people are always going to figure out the problem to a or they are always going to find the solution to a problem, or at least most of the time unless it's something major. And I would do this for every single position that I was hiring for. There was a few different positions that I needed and then one main position that I was just hiring a bunch of these people. And I did that really wrong. If I'm just telling you guys directly, I was basically doing the Andrew Tate model when he first came out. And I mean, literally, when he first started to get big, I figured out what he was doing very, very early on. He had an affiliate program, and from that affiliate program, he was just telling people, "Hey, why don't you post my videos, have them blow up, and if they blow up, then a portion of the people who watch those videos are then going to come on and join my website, and I will give you an affiliate commission on that." And I was thinking, why is nobody else doing this? All that matters are views. And what he's doing is basically doing a different version of paid ads, except he was doing it for free. But if I had to guess, I would say that he was also paying people to edit and to post those clips. That is just a hunch of mine that I've never asked him personally, but I would bet a very handsome sum that 100% of the people posting his videos were not just affiliates. He also had a mass producing team doing it. But the way that I thought of it is much better to pay for organic ads. And what I mean by that is just asking the person watching this on the other screen, if you are scrolling on Instagram and you see an ad, what do you do? Do you think, oh my God, this is a great opportunity? Maybe if you're my girlfriend, you would. But the majority of people do not buy ads off Instagram. The or at least the younger demographic. There is a portion of people who would, but I am never going to be one of those people. But I will buy people's products. So then it comes down to whose products will I buy? It is the products of people that I come to know, like, and trust from seeing their videos all the time. And I come to value their opinion. And if I value their opinion enough, I would assume that their paid product is going to be to a high enough degree to the level of character that they have. So you're basically just building reputation. And I figured this out very quickly, uh, to the point where I was probably one of the first people who started to do this for other people. The problem was the people that I were doing it with were not in the right space, and I was not doing nearly enough volume. I think that it still would have worked, and this is something that I would still try in the future, but I would try it from a completely different standpoint. So, it failed miserably and I lost a lot of money, but I still think there was an opportunity and I still think it was a good idea because I saw that it was working for him. And there was a very easy way, or not an easy way, but if I spent enough money, I think it would have worked. The problem was I was working with people who didn't have the right kind of personality for it, and they did not want to say anything. They actually would only let me take clips from their financial readings. And this is someone who was just a very bizarre character. And it actually was a megalodonious failure, but it was still a fun project nonetheless. That is besides the point. We're talking about hiring and what you do. The main problem I had was I hired good people, but then I honestly, I just didn't have the skills to train them properly. I knew what needed to be done, but I didn't have the technical ability to execute on it. And if you can't execute on something in your business, you have to, one, hire people who can teach people or teach your employees how to execute on it, or you have to be good enough to teach your employees how to execute on what you need. And if you aren't good enough, you also don't know who to look at when you're hiring. So I would say my main issue was I didn't know how to manage the employees to the high enough degree and utilize and get them motivated enough to want to work, because I know that my boss is incredibly good at motivating people to where they want to work. And any good boss would do that by having a mission or having an end goal that people could strive for. And there was no goal. I had no mission. I had no structure to my business except do this. And there are people on the end of the screen. It's not an automotive workshop like I was treating it. So that is a big regret that I have, that I wasn't treating the people on the other end of the screen as humans. I was just treating them as, oh, do this task A, B, and C, instead of thinking about it through the human aspect, which I think any great CEO has the ability to communicate with humans to the high enough degree. And the guy that I'm going to work with in Arizona, who has the $2 billion real estate portfolio, he is the best person that I've ever seen when communicating with other humans. If you've ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, he is a spitting image of that. When he goes into the room, he literally makes every single person feel like they've been best friends for the past 30 years. And I've never seen anyone do that to such a skillful degree. And I would use the word skillful. Some people are good at this naturally. I personally was not, but I've been incorporating those skills and trying to do them more often. And I've seen that my relationships and business and virtually every aspect of my life has gone up many folds because of that by trying to incorporate just basic strategies to be a better communicator with other people. And that kind of leads to everyone liking you more. And what I'm really curious to see is when I go there is what kind of environment his workplace is like, because he probably has hundreds of employees. And I'm sure that they have a huge level of respect for him, but also because he's such a friendly person, he treats everyone like a friend. They also have a very close relationship to where you want to do a good job because that's your friend and you want your boss to succeed. And that's exactly how I feel with my current bosses. I want him to succeed as to the highest possible degree, even if it doesn't mean I get paid anything extra, just because of the opportunities that have arisen just because of working with him and how I think good of a person he is. So these are just lessons that I'm trying to learn. And when I'm starting to scale a business again and go from my very few employees right now to maybe 10, 15, maybe even 17, 20 again, how I'm going to structure it much differently to where there is a structured workplace there, or not a structured workplace, but there's an end goal, a mission that everyone is striving for, to where that keeps people going. And I treat people more like humans on the other side, or hopefully, if I'm hiring people, it is actually I'm with them in some sort of office instead of across the world. But anywho, the main takeaway that at least I would take myself is the hiring process that I had was pretty damn good and it would work very well. Have some sort of task that you want someone to perform, see how well they can execute on that, and then just ask them why they made the decisions that they had. And then it doesn't matter what your resume is. If you were talking directly to the CEO and not some corporate entity, all they care about is can this person execute on the job and can they think for themselves? And do they know why they're making the decisions that they're making?